Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Vanessa Dunn, Guyton, and I am the founder and executive director of Hush No More. Hush No More supports survivors when they're ready to come forward to share their story, when they need resources, or if you just need somebody to listen to. We also provide free counseling, free training in our communities, and just a safe space for our communities to come forward and to raise awareness. This month is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Today is Teal Tuesday, so I am wearing my teal. Hopefully, you all are wearing your teal too, supporting survivors and just raising awareness because that is so important. So, today we have a very important topic and a special guest. I am so excited and honored to introduce you to Tarian. She's coming with us today to talk about her story because she has a right to tell it. And so it is so important that survivors know that when they're ready, they have a voice and they have a choice to be able to share whatever they want of their story and whatever makes them feel comfortable. So thank you so very much for joining us tonight. Hello, beautiful.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. Excited, nervous.
Well, you should be nervous. This is not easy to do, like at all. I still get nervous when I talk, and I do this a lot. So I just want to be nervous, and I'm truly honored that you have decided to hush no more and actually share, just part of your life with us. And we have a lot of eyes, a lot of audiences out there from all different platforms, and so it's a little challenging sometimes, but we can get through it together. How about that?
Yes, we will
All
get through this together.
right. So tell us a little bit about you.
um, I'm I'm Tarian. I am a professional dancer, model, designer, living in Las Vegas currently. I am from Jacksonville, Florida. Duval. I have to shout out my hometown all the time. 904. And I've just grown up a performer and have done that my whole life, and that is like the fast version of me.
All right. So I can tell you're a performer and an artist just looking at your whole designer outfit.
Got cheetah on flower on everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And so you really do express yourself in your own personal art. And
Yeah.
I really admire you for that because sometimes we don't always show who we truly are. We look at other people and think about what they're thinking about us. And so
Right.
you show up like I am here and you light up a room. And so I really admire that about you.
Oh, thank you, Vanessa.
You're welcome. So, growing up, right? I want you to talk about your experiences of just growing up. What did the little girl look like?
Oh my gosh, this little girl was a born performer. As a kid, I remember being really young and having all the other kids come together, and I would orchestrate some type of performance because I was the one who had to put the performance together and put it out there so that all the parents could see. So just from that young of an age, I was a born performer, and about 8 years old, I started doing rhythmic gymnastics. So it kind of controlled my energy, and I honed in on a sport that most people don't do in their lifetime or ever even seen in their lifetime, let alone a little black girl from Jacksonville do it in her lifetime. So just growing up, I was a fun kid. I like to run around. I like to play. I talked a lot, so much. I didn't like school, but I liked being social. I was very social and had lots of friends and was very fashionable even as a kid. Like, at 5 years old, I told my mom that I didn't want to wear flowers anymore. But shout out to mom because I have on flowers today. So I grew out of that. But just, I was very like, I knew what I liked and what I didn't like at a very young age and very headstrong. And yeah, just a fun kid, I think.
Mhm. And just for us to reflect back on who we were, like before any trauma, before any crap starts in our life,
Right.
normally we're just pretty fun. I am this girl or I am that guy. That's just who I was. And so I think it's important for us to look back on who we were at the beginning,
Yeah.
where we allowed someone to maybe define us for a moment in time, right? So they
Mhm.
define us for a moment in time when they try to take things from us, but they don't really define who we are when we take our power back.
Right.
Yeah.
They do not define who we are.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what changed this little cute girl that loved rhythm gymnastics and talked a lot? What changed for you?
Um, I guess is where the story begins. um, somewhere it happened early on, somewhere at like 5. But that I don't think affected me, or I don't think it affected me.
Mhm.
So somewhere around 8 years old, and I would go over my cousin's house, and it was my cousin and like 6 other cousins. So it was a bunch of us, which I loved going over there because I grew up essentially in my home as an only child. Like I have other brothers and sisters, but I didn't grow up with them. So when I go over to my cousin's house, it was like the time to like be with my cousin who's my age, be with my older cousins, and just be around other people besides myself, and just hanging out with the cousins. They all treated me like I was brother and sister. So I loved going over there. My parents worked a lot. They worked for CXX Transportation, which is a train company, but they have you working all types of crazy hours and different shifts and stuff. So I will go over there on the weekends because they both work the same shift. And it was fun and I had a good time. Got to be with my cousins, like I said, but one of my cousins wanted to be, I guess, a little bit more than what cousins should be doing. And I guess around about 7 or 8 is when he started to touch me. Um, they didn't have a lot of bedrooms in the houses that they lived in. They kind of moved around a lot. So they'd be at an apartment here and then they'd be at a house there. So anytime I'd be over there, they only ever had like 2 or 3 bedrooms. So everyone had to like kind of sleep in the same room. Or it was, boys in one room, girls in the other room, whatever that looks like. So, but yeah, he would come in at night and he would touch me. And I didn't understand it or why it was happening. I really don't even remember what was being said to me at the time, but I do just remember thinking like, is it me? Like, am I doing something wrong, or like, or is this natural? Does this happen to other little girls or other people my age rather, is what I was thinking. And then he's not that much older than me, so it wasn't like a uncle or a father type figure. It wasn't like that distance in age, which a lot of people think about. We're only like a few years apart, maybe like 3 or 4, but still enough for me to be like, I don't think this is cool, but not knowing how to express that.
Hmm. Well, nobody really teaches you how to express.
Right.
Yeah, nobody says, "Oh, well, this is how you should say this," or "This is how you should get through this situation." And especially
Mhm.
at that age, you know,
Right. Exactly.
especially at that age. Do you feel like if you'd had someone talk to you, maybe that you would have understood it a little bit more? Or
I mean, I remember my mother having conversations with me when I was younger. Um, like if someone touches you there, like that's not supposed to happen.
right.
Um, and it did when I was 5 with another cousin. And I immediately, when I got back home from that trip, I told my mom, and I just kind of remember like I guess I took her disappointment for her being disappointed in me. But now that I'm an adult, I can see that that wasn't the case, that she was just hurt by what had happened. So me thinking, oh, my mom feels like I'm, going to disappoint her if I come to her about something like this. I think it slightly contributes to me not saying something when I got older, because then I started to think, well, now this has happened to me again. Is this something that I'm doing wrong? And then for it to continue to happen for over, a longer period of time, it's like hard for me to say, but it did become normal.
Mhm.
And I feel like that might be hard to admit, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, This understandable though, that is your norm. That was
Right.
your norm. That's what you all did. That was a norm for you, an unhealthy norm, but it was a norm.
Yeah.
It was. So how did he stop? Was it just you said something? Do you remember why it stopped or how it stopped?
Oh, I remember because that would be like the icing or the cherry on top to this whole thing. Um because it continued to go on from 7 until 14, but it was progressive. It wasn't like he forced himself onto me or into me when I was that young, when I was 8 years old. It was just like touching and feeling and groping. And it was almost like the older he got, the more things I guess his sexual mind wanted to do is when things got progressive with me. And then at 13 is when I, was actually, I guess, physically, like completely physically assaulted
Okay.
or sexually assaulted. And then that still went on. Um, and I think, yeah, that still went on until 14. And then I got pregnant at 14.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was, now I have to deal with that. This is really a problem. I've gotten used to it. Now it's an issue. And at 14, all I could think of is, oh my gosh, like my life is over. Like I'm ruined as a person, as a young girl. Like I really was going through this. And I remember like this turning point where I was like, I'm not a little girl anymore. And I have a decision to make. And I was still doing rhythmic gymnastics at the very end. This was the very end of that. And my mom noticed that I just wasn't performing well in practice. I was very sick and tired and, all these pregnancy symptoms. And I already knew what was going on with me. I was just trying to figure out what I was going to do. Me in my mind, I felt like I had to fix it myself. Like I was like, I have to do this all by myself. And when I confronted him about it, he called me a slut and said I've been sleeping with other people. And I was like, no, no one else has ever touched me at this point like that. So if it wasn't for my mom saying, I see something, what's going on, I still didn't tell her the truth. I can laugh about that, but I didn't tell the truth. I was so scared. I was so scared. I didn't want to get in trouble and I didn't want to get him in trouble. Why I felt that way, I don't know. But I was so scared. I was so scared my life was not gonna be the same. And I just kept praying, like, I just want my life to go back to the way it was. Like, I just want to go back to school. I just want to hang out with my friends. I want to be a normal 14-year-old. Like, so I lied to my mother about what really happened and said it was some guy that I was crushing on that lived over there with my cousins or something like that. And never told him really who it was. My father, being a father, rightfully so, was very, very upset. Didn't really ask too many questions, but I did have to get an abortion from there. So that's another story.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember in that moment, I was like, things won't be the same emotionally, but they will go back to being the same physically. I will go back to school. I will be with my friends. But I felt like a confused grown little woman at that time. And that's when it stopped because I wasn't allowed to go over there anymore. Even though I never told what really happened, I just wasn't allowed to obviously spend time at their house
Mm-hmm.
because.
I think it's interesting how you described yourself as a little confused grown woman, but I think that's a good way to sum it up. Like Like you're old enough to get pregnant and have a baby, right? But mentally, you're really not, right? You're
No,
not. And so you're torn in between. I have the body of a woman, but the mind of a child.
exactly.
And that's really difficult to deal with and try to figure that out. So I like the fact that you put words to it to describe how you really felt during that time.
I've reflected on certain moments more recently because, after that, I was like, this is over and I never want to remember any of this again. Right. That's what I did. I said, we're going to jump right back into my life. And that never, ever, 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 ever happened. So since I've been going through my healing process, I've been in therapy for the past year, and really opening up about it and talking about it. I've reflected on certain moments. Like what was, for me, I had to think about what was the moment that I knew, what was the switch in my mind that it was like, oh crap, like this is real. Like this ain't fake. Like this is real life and I have to figure this out. What do I do? Mm-hmm. And do I believe I made the best decision in the moment? No. But I'm not mad at myself for that anymore. Because I did make the best decision for myself for 14 years old.
Okay.
For that age, I made the best decision that I could for me.
So for you forgiving yourself? Have you forgiven yourself?
Okay. I've forgiven young me. She didn't know. She just was trying to figure it out. She was just trying to figure it out.
And a lot of times that's where healing starts, is forgiving yourself, right? And releasing fault and the guilt and the shame. Yeah. And being able to say, I forgive you. You didn't know. You had no clue, right? You had no clue. Were you, when you were over your family house, was there any real supervision, or they just assumed that you all were cousins so you wouldn't touch each other?
That. I think it's assumed that we wouldn't do anything like that. Mm-hmm. And then being like the youngest one in the bunch, I was the youngest one there, and then it was my cousin Brittany. Her and I, well, I said her name, but I don't think she'll mind. Her and I were, that was the reason why I was going over there, because that's my cousin. Like that's my cousin, that's my best friend. She's the one that's like, you got that one cousin you grow up with and you stick with really hard. Yeah. That's that cousin. So I was always just there for her. And I never wanted to leave because I always loved being with her and hanging out with her and spending time with her, because I didn't have that at my house. And then she had her older brothers and sisters. So that was cool too, because I was like, I get to, peer into the life of a teenager. I was at the time younger, and they were all in high school, and I thought that was cool. And just being around older kids always was fun for me, or being around older people in general. I like to listen to people talk and stories and what happens, but somewhere along those lines, some things shouldn't have been happening,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sometimes we just don't understand the journey.
So
we just don't understand the journey. And I think as parents and family, we do have that assumption that nothing is going on, that right. Everybody loves each other, that when the kids are upstairs playing, that they're not doing things that they have no business doing.
Right.
At all different ages, because your first experience, you can remember back to age 5. Right. So the assumption is that nothing is happening.
Right.
When it truly is.
And I'm not quite sure in what ways we could talk about it more, and bring that to light and make that not a positive thing, but being like just understanding that that's not cool if that happens, and that we need to talk about it if it does. Mm-hmm. And I guess just being okay with speaking about it and not shying away from it, or not brushing it under the rug, or not acting like it didn't happen. And that's why I want to tell my story. Because I feel like I am the definition of sweeping it under the rug. I'm sure other people out there who have gone through the same thing probably feel the same way. You just keep it all to yourself, and all to yourself, all to yourself. Until one day you realize that that one thing has affected so much of your own being, so much of your life, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you interact with other people, the way you see relationships, the way you see your friendships, um, all of those things. I realized because I kept that to myself and I didn't talk about it and no one knew that I was hiding stuff about myself to other people that I didn't even need to hide about. Because I just learned how to keep it all to myself, and I'm going to be okay because I got me, but I needed other people. I needed someone to say it really is okay to talk about this. I needed someone to ask more questions. What's really going on?
Do you think you would have been honest though? What do you think? If the questions were asked?
I think when I'm pressured, I definitely would have been. I think I was wanting someone to pressure me so that I could just crack and be like, "Ah, this is what happened," and like no one did that. So then I was like, okay. I almost took it, and this is so like, this is young minded thinking, but I took it as, well, no one's there for me because no one made me speak. But if I was going to speak, then that's something I should have done. But I'm doing it now. Hush no more.
You're doing it now. So you said things happen in your life. What were some signs and symptoms that your abuse early on in life affected you in your adult, once you became a teenager and you started being on your own? What are some things that you noticed?
Because in those moments with my abuser, I would have to put myself mentally and emotionally somewhere else, so I wasn't, there dealing with that, and in that moment, that I could just like not be here. Like I can be looking at you and talking to you and not really be there with you. I'm thinking about what I'm going to eat, what am I going to do tomorrow, or like, why are we having this conversation? Like, I know, like, some of my exes caught me cold because I could just, like, I could completely shut off. And you'd be like, am I even talking to this person? And I had such a good off switch. I didn't like for people to see me cry, to see me hurt. So anytime that I was feeling sad, I would retreat and I would disappear. I wouldn't talk to people for however long and be like, well, where did she go? So I noticed that I pushed people away because of that.
Mm-hmm. So people really didn't know the real you.
Not a lot of people. And as you get older, you tell one person, like I end up telling my best friend at some point. And then I told a guy I was dating, but it was never like this. Like now I don't even know how many people are on here. I'm telling everybody. Like I slowly did. And I think I was looking for someone who was going to help me. Instead of me reaching out for help, I felt like, okay, if I tell, all right, I feel comfortable enough telling so-and-so because they might be able to help me. And then if they couldn't help me, okay, then I'm going to close back down again. And it wasn't until I met Dontriel, because he was the first person that really looked me in my eyes and was like, what is going on here? Like, he read my whole life. I was like, I have to now tell someone. He was like, you don't look at me. You don't interact with me. You shy away from me sometimes. You pull back. Like something has happened to you. And I knew, looking into his eyes, I was like, I can't keep this to myself anymore. I was like, I don't want to. This has been like 10 years in the making. I can't do this anymore. So.
Yeah, some people tell me it's been 30 years, 40 years before they ever told anybody. For me, it was like 17. And so 10 is like, I'm glad that you told it then. And you probably want to tell it a little sooner. And people like, 10. Yeah. Yeah. It takes people a while to be able to share something so intimate. It's not easy.
It's not. It's not.
Mhm. So
But the
look
more,
at it. I'm sorry.
oh, I was gonna say, the more I talk about it now, though, the better I feel. So that's why I'm like, okay, nervous, but if this helps somebody, that's great. But if it doesn't help anybody, I know it helped me. So
Right. And people who have recently experienced some things, they don't see that. They're like, ain't no way I'm telling somebody. You like, I'm keeping this to myself. I am not sharing. But as time goes on and you realize you want to heal, sharing and getting it out of you really does work.
and then you realize, you're not the only person in this boat. You know what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately, sexual abuse and sexual assault is just extremely common, even on like minor offenses. Like, there was a time I was in Miami. I was there for my 18th birthday, and I was looking cute. I was 18, stepping out, and this group of guys saw me. It was like 10 of them, and they all started barking at me, just really loud. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to run because I felt like they would come after me. So they all walked past me, and they all touched me just like this. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do in this moment? There's more of them than there are of me. And I was with another guy friend, but we both would have 10 guys, the two of us. It was, and we don't, and I feel like we just don't talk about these things. So like, people don't know how common that even the small stuff like that happens on a regular basis.
Mhm.
And those guys thought they was having a good old time when I was petrified. I was like, please just don't do any more than what you just did. Just take that touch and keep it moving. Like, that's all I could think about.
Mhm. I will say that it's not small because the way that it affected you mentally was huge.
That's true. You're
It's
right.
not small, it's huge. And it could be sexual harassment. I tell people sexual harassment could really affect your day. I've met people that are suicidal from sexual harassment. It doesn't have to be penetration, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's still sexual assault when it's touching your breast, your private parts. That is sexual assault, whether there's penetration or not. And it's reportable, and it's different in some states. Like here in South Carolina, you can report that, but we don't always know, and we don't know what to do in the moment.
Right. And I'm like, I don't know who these men are they're affiliated with.
Yeah, nobody really knows. Tanique says that it's all part of healing. So when you're sharing your story, it's part of healing.
Yes.
Kanisha said it's so true and awesome. She's agreeing with your story. And April said, thank you so much for sharing your story. God bless you. And Crystal said, you are so brave for speaking out. And I have to agree. You are. So, how did you decide that you wanted to, at this age, start sharing? Because I know it's difficult for your family. So for those who saying that I can't say anything because I don't want my family to know, how did you get to this point?
Well, I can go back to that same conversation Dontrell and I had. He looked at me and he was like, we got to talk about this. So I went in, I told him my story. We had a whole breakdown. We both cried together. And then I told him that my parents didn't know. And he just thought I was opening up to him about what happened. And maybe he thought that my family knew. And I was like, they don't know. And he was like, I really think you should tell them. And I was like, oh, I'm not, I'm not ready for that. I was like, I'm not ready for that. So I didn't. And, a few months went on and him and I were still having the same issues. And so then we talked about it again and had the same crying, releasing moment together. And he was like, again, you need to talk. He's like, you need to at least tell your mom. He's like, don't call your mom and your dad the same day. I understand that can be a lot, but you have to tell at least one of them. So I said, you know what, you're right, because this is hindering. I realized it was hindering our relationship.
Right.
So I was like, let me call her. So I just called her and I was already crying and I just kept crying on the phone and I just let it. I took a deep breath in and out and I just let it come out. I just said it. And being a mom, she was really quiet at first and apologetic and empathetic, and she had all the emotions I feel like a mother would have
Yeah.
in that moment. She didn't cry, at least not on the phone with me. And we talked for hours after that, and I just got it out, and it felt so good. And I told her I wanted to see a therapist. I told Dontrell I wanted to see a therapist, um, because I want to talk more about it, but I want to understand the feelings as they come up. So just having someone that can just talk with me through it and help me, you know, I guess put it all back in order, because I scrambled it all up because I was trying to forget it all. So I started going to therapy, and that has been great. I've been in therapy for a year now, and I have the most awesome therapist ever. And I won't put her name all out there, but she's amazing. And with working with her has like really encouraged me to talk to more people, you know, because she told me, she was like, you just say it like it, you just say it. And I was like, yeah, well, I don't want to be upset no more. For me personally, I don't want to be upset anymore. I just want to talk about it and change some lives and change my life and heal other people. And I just want to talk about it. And if an emotion comes up, I allow that to happen. If it doesn't, that's okay. So I decided, I ran into you on Clubhouse. Fast forward. And when I saw that this is what you do, I said, I have to be a part of this. I said, I have to be a part of this because it's time for me. And I know that this is a good way for me to do that. But I also knew that my dad didn't know.
Right.
And we agreed that I wasn't going to come on here and speak openly until I had spoken to him about it. And
That's right.
now he knows. So, and here I am speaking to you all. So,
Well, I don't think that it's fair to a parent to have to hear it through social media.
yes.
That
Yeah,
gotta be hard, right? And so it's still your choice because you didn't have to tell your dad first. But as a parent, I'm like, I think I really would want to know before it's on social media. That's
right. Yeah. Before it's all public and everyone else knows, and then
before
everybody
me.
probably,
Yeah,
yeah, no, I felt like I would be embarrassed if I was a parent and my child did that. Or if anyone extremely close to me did something that, like if Dontrell did something, and I'd be like, I would have liked to have known that before you get all over here. So it was important to me
to be able to tell. But I wouldn't have been embarrassed as a parent. I would have wanted to know why you didn't tell me. Like, I want my kids to tell me. As a parent, you don't have kids yet, but as parents, we want to be able to help our children and be there for them. It's not embarrassment and shame, really. And then you get emotional because then you be wanting to kill the person that hurt the child. You go through like all these emotions. And so
right.
I would have wanted to be able to be there for you.
Yeah, and all those questions were asked. They definitely asked me those questions, and I was honest. I told them, like I told y'all, I was scared.
Yeah.
And I thought I could handle it myself. And I just felt like I kept wishing it away, it would go away.
How was your dad afterwards? Like, how is he now? Did he survive it? Because that's not easy to hear about your baby girl was
He's
molested.
he's still living and he ain't killed nobody. So he's surviving. He is surviving. I think he's surviving just fine. I hadn't talked to him in a little while, but I think he's surviving
You made it
just
through.
fine.
Mhm. Because you had a lot to tell. You even told about the abortion. So that's a lot to tell. And so I want people to understand that it's your story you got to write and that
Mm-hmm.
people will be okay after you share.
Well, that's what we all came to the conclusion.
Mhm.
Me and my parents, they were, you know, my dad wasn't the most thrilled about the last podcast that I did with you, but we had to agree that, I'm 28 years old. This is my life. This is my story, and that I feel as if I have to express it in this way. And wherever that leads me, that's on me at this point.
It is.
So
It's
that's
your
where
life.
we had to agree on that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Tanika says she's proud of you and that she's a survivor too. Shirley says she loved this. And Tanika's going to be on our show. So she did do her
Okay.
application. I saw your application, Tanika. I haven't been able to get back to you, but I saw it. And it's important that we have these opportunities. And I am also very proud of you. I am. When you were on before, we talked about sex after trauma.
Mhm.
How are your sexual relationships now that you're working through all of this? Time's
Really, really good.
up.
I
So
mean,
this healing.
to go back on that, we talked about flashbacks and stuff like that. There hasn't been any. Um, we haven't, like, we've been right now have been very, very good. Like in that area, there's no like, okay, we have to stop. There's no even have to work through. We've just been gelling, and I think really since we opened up and talked about it on the podcast, it was almost like a freeing moment for the both of us. And we talked about this out in the open. Other people know we're helping other people. It was almost like my mental and my spirit and we were like, we're good, like I know that there still might be things that come up at some point, but as far as last couple of months, we've been good.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Intimacy after any type of trauma is very hard, very
yeah.
hard. And so for you to acknowledge that and decide to work on it is priceless. That is priceless.
Well, I didn't want him to always be wanting to, just to hold me and embrace me. And I'm always like, like that's like, I want to be held mentally, but physically, my body was like, oh, we don't know what this is. So you almost have to train yourself to be with this other person so that your body doesn't get confused and go back. So I've been kind of looking at it as like a training. Like anytime it does come up and it does happen, it's like, no, I pull him close to me. This man loves me. This man can protect me. This man is here for me, not to hurt me. He's not against me. This is okay. We can be doing these things. So just training myself, almost like going to the gym, one day at a time. So we've been great. We've been really good. I've been proud of both of us, actually.
Yeah. I think those are some good tips, some good powerful words that you just said. How you speak positivity in your life. That's important.
You do. You have to. If you're not positive, then everything else around you is going to not be positive.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was younger, especially after what happened to me, I could be a real negative Nancy about stuff. Like friends would be like, "Well, dang, you always complaining about something. You always." And now I'm like, I can't. Life is too short. I want to enjoy it. So I want to get over these hurdles so I can continue to enjoy my life.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, were you able to forgive the individuals that hurt you growing up? Were you able to forgive them?
I would love one in particular to get help. And if this one ever listens to this podcast, I forgive you. But I know that you need someone to speak to. And you need to find that person that you can trust, that you can open up to, so you can talk. Because I do know that you love me, and I also love you too from over there. But my wish for you is to get help. That's it. But I've forgiven all of them.
Mm-hmm. I love how you say, I love you from over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to deal with them if you don't want to.
I have to.
It's your choice. Yeah.
Not a bone in my body wants to deal. But like I said, from over there, I can love you.
And you know, when you forgive and you genuinely forgive, it's really when they used to say it's not for the other person, it's for you. I didn't understand that. Like I was like, what are they talking about? I'm not forgiving. I hate you, right?
Right.
So, but it's like a weight comes off of you where it's not eating you up anymore. You could just float like a butterfly. You gone, you know, and let
Yeah.
them be in their junk. That's what I call it. They're in their junk still. And you're
Yeah.
not within their junk and you're able to move on without them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I am proud of you for that. And I have some guests that have forgiven and I have some that have not. I think it's a personal choice.
It is.
It is.
It's a personal choice, and it's a journey, you know. And for me, the person was still in my life after that,
Mm-hmm.
so it was kind of like I still did lots of things for this person and helped them out, and out of some weird guilt of my own. And then when I stopped feeling guilty about what had happened, and when I was like, I'm going to take responsibility for my portion, and you got to take responsibility for yours. And if you don't, that's fine, but I can't have you interrupting my peace anymore. Because it was still an interruption, almost like a still trying to get back in my life um, type thing. So, like, I know a lot of people, you know, it happens, they don't have to see the person ever again. I've still had to deal with this person. This person still reaches out to me, still writes me on Facebook, still friend requests me, still like is still trying to heavily be in my life. And just over the last 6 months, I just was like, no. Just even the 6 months, I just was like, no, I can't do this with you anymore. This is not healthy for me. I'm forgiving you and I'm in the process of forgiving you, but this isn't healthy for us to communicate. But I can't act like this didn't happen anymore either.
Mm-hmm. I think sometimes they want you to make them feel better. They want you to say it's okay, you know.
It's all right.
Yeah, they
Pat
want
you
you
on
to
the
make them
back.
feel better.
We do this to everybody. Like,
Right.
no, that, that's not what this. That's not what this is. Definitely, there was. I could definitely tell he was looking for some type of validation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't owe you that. You
Yeah.
don't deserve that.
So what does life look like for you now? What do you see the life of a future for you?
I see that I can. That the sky is literally the limit. Like I can do. I can do whatever Tarian wants to do, and I can be. I can finally be the person I want to be, and I can stop feeling shame around what's happened to me. I can stop feeling guilty for what's happened to me. I should stop feeling embarrassed because I was very embarrassed. Like, it's okay. I can talk about this and I want to talk about this. And I can flip that story and it doesn't have to be, oh, poor Tarian. It could be, oh, who can we help next? So, you know, since I've been healing, I've been doing a lot more art. I've been like really more expressive in just my all around life. Um, it's almost like with each bit of weight coming off the shoulders and talking about it, I'm just like, you know, this butterfly that's finally, you know, out of this cocoon that I'm trying to break out of for all these years. So I'm excited to be this cool, fun butterfly. I get to talk again. I got my voice back, and that is so important to me in everything. I'm not quiet about anything anymore. It's like, girl, shut up. No, I can talk. So yeah.
You got your voice back. You
Got
know,
my
and I look forward to just seeing you evolve. I haven't even known you that long, but I tell you, since we met, you have really blossomed even more. You are already on that healing journey. And I am just really proud of you because you're glowing. Like you have a glow about you. You're like, I want to be an advocate. I want to help other people. If I could just help one person, that is priceless.
yeah.
That is priceless. So
Yeah, I think it's important. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. in every aspect.
So is there any last words that you want to tell our audience before we get out of here?
If anyone actually wants to speak with me, you may reach me on Instagram at Tarian, Tarian _JERE. Shoot me a DM. I'm more than like willing to talk and write you back because I want to meet more people, and I want to do more podcasts and more, I guess, public speaking. I want to do more things. Oh no, decline. Sorry, I had a whole phone call come in.
Yeah, they didn't get the message. They didn't get the message that you were in the middle of an interview.
They didn't, like, right at the end too, you know. Like, now I can't even find where you are on my computer.
We still see you.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm just gonna keep smiling at the camera because I can't see y'all.
Yeah, you look great.
So yeah, if anyone wants to reach out to me, my DMs are open for this in particular.
I love that you are young, you are vibrant, you are really trying to change the game. And I look forward to you making a difference in your industry. So, your acting career, dancing career, those industries have a lot of sexual harassment, a lot of sexual assault, and I could see you being a game changer. So, I look forward to hearing you speak more about that, and we're going to work on that.
Yes, let's get it together. I definitely am down for that.
Yeah, because you don't look like what you've been through and you're still pushing.
I definitely don't, because if I did, I'd be looking kind of old, but
They look great. So. Roy said Miss Green has a calmness and speaks and thinks without a lot of intellectual clutter that adds additional layers that have to be worked through. So he sees the healing in you as well.
Who was this that said that?
His name is Roy.
Okay. Is that my uncle?
That was Roy. So I could show it up there on the screen for you.
Okay. I've somehow lost you in my computer.
It's okay. So remember that you do have a right to tell it, and I'm very proud of you for doing it. So thank you. Thank you so much, Tarian. All right, so that has been the amazing Tarian. She has shared so much of herself tonight. She decided that it was her right, her choice to use her voice and to tell it. And it's not easy. And you don't have to. If you're ready to, we're here as a platform for you to share when you're healed. So I don't let you share if you're still emotionally broken down, because I don't believe in that. I want to see you at a place where you're healing so that you can help other people heal and give people just a idea of what it's like to go through this journey and an idea of how to heal that can lead to maybe forgiveness, that could lead to a happier life, it can lead to you're going through counseling and it's successful. I think that is very important for our audience to be able to see that. So you all know that it is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We have a lot of events going on this month. On Friday, we have Investigator Chandra Cleveland. We are going to talk about protecting our children from sexual violence. We're going to talk about children, teens, and actually adults as well. On April 13th, Elizabeth Sullivan is going to be here, and she's going to talk about empowering survivors. You do not have to struggle alone. You can live a powerful, empowered life where you are supporting other people as well through your journey, if you so choose. April 14th, Gina McKay is going to be here, and she's going to talk about the story that nobody wants to hear. Nobody want to hear her story. I want to hear her story, and we're going to share it on the Hush No More Champions. And then on the 20th, Richard and Kathy Butler are going to be here from Comfort in the Storm, and they're going to talk about what happens when your child is molested. What do you do when they're molested? And so we're going to have a great conversation about that, just to empower parents, to give you some ideas of some things that you can do to have this conversation with your children, and what can you do when you need to report it to the police and get some help. Also, we have a lot of events going on this month. April 16th is our spoken word. If you are a poet, a writer, a singer, join us. It's going to be live. We would love to hear your art. I am going to be doing my own favorite piece that I have enhanced. Then on April 17th, if you live in Columbia, South Carolina, we are doing Warrior to Survivor. No, I got it backwards. Survivor to Warrior training with Lance Adams, and he's going to teach us some self-defense tactics and techniques. And we're also going to stream that live If you're not able to join us in person, we will be social distancing. April 18th is going to be the screening of the Hush No More documentary. It is absolutely free. Grab you some popcorn, sit in with us, and hear the stories of survivors and how you could figure out ways to heal just from their stories alone. April 24th, we are going to have a child sexual abuse forum talking to parents again, because this is also Child Sexual Abuse Awareness Month, helping you be able to look out for your children, your grandchildren, your aunts, the aunts and uncles, grandparents, godparents. You all need to listen to this. Communities, you need to listen how to protect our children. So we're going to be talking about cyber, so how to protect your children from their cell phone, Snapchat, all this social media. We're going to talk about that. And also, we're going to have a way for you to be able to look to see what your child is doing on social media. So we have a private investigator that's going to help us with that. So this way your kids are not getting over on you, and we could find out what's really going on and what type of relationships that they're having outside of the home that you may not know about. So that is very important. I look forward to supporting all of you. If you are a survivor, if you have any questions, need somebody to listen to, if you need resources, reach out to us. You have a right to tell it. You have a right to have somebody to listen to you, and you have a right to heal. And so I am truly thankful that you have joined us tonight. Please share our video, join us on our podcast. We just want to raise awareness and make sure that we're helping our community. Tarian, thank you again for joining us. Peace and blessings to you, my love. And I wish all of you a great night or day, depending on when you're listening. So
Yes.
peace and blessings.